Fabrizio Romano says Chelsea are going to be going after 5 key players and basically leaks Chelsea's targets for this summer. Let's get into it. Let's talk about these 5 positions because they're going to be imperative for Enzo Maresca to be successful at Chelsea. Ian Maatsen's come out and all of a sudden changed his tune. When Pochettino was here, it looked like his Chelsea career was over, and all of a sudden he's got a U-turn. He's saying stuff that people want to hear. Chelsea are also linked with 2 goalkeepers. Both names are mentioned. One of them is an experienced player that a lot of you are going to love. The other one, I don't know much about, so a quick little research just to keep you lot informed. And finally, Omari Hutchinson and Andrey Santos, there are big developments regarding their futures at Chelsea Football Club. One of them could be going on a permanent and the other one could be staying for next season. Let me break it down. Let me keep you informed. I won't be keeping you for a while, but you will enjoy the time you spend here. So number 1, hit the like button. Number 2, subscribe to the channel because we're 900 away from 35,000 and that is a massive achievement. Never thought I'd get here. And finally, hit that bell notification because tomorrow I'm going to have a video describing what kind of tactics Enzo Maresca is going to be potentially using next year and what I believe to be his preferred lineup under the current construction and who I think they're going to add. Let's get into it and let's move on. Fabrizio Romano has openly come out now and started discussing about how Chelsea are going to be very busy next year, and he's mentioned 5 positions. Well, 4 in general, but we know it's 5 purely based on other accounts of when he was spoken. Number 1, he spoke about a goalkeeper. Chelsea will be in the goalkeepers market this year due to the fact that Enzo Maresca wants to play out the back. Petrovic doesn't have the capabilities to do that, but he's a very good goalkeeper, and Robert Sanchez has the capabilities to do it to a decent standard, however isn't a very great goalkeeper, which is worrying when you are a goalkeeper. Furthermore, we will be looking at a centre-half due to outgoings that are going to occur in that position with Thiago Silva and potentially Trevor Chalobah. Finally, we're going to look at a left-back, and he mentioned forward. Forwards is meant to be broken down into 2 segments based on other reports and other times that he's spoken about this. He's mentioned that we need a number 9 and a potentially winger that is creative, which we know is actually kind of true because Chelsea are looking at those 5 positions. Doesn't mean we're going to get starters in all of those positions. However, it does mean we're looking to beef up the squad and get even better. So now let's break it down. The links today have linked us with the goalkeepers that we could be looking at. Number 1 being Philippe Jurgens. For those of you that don't know, this is a 22-year-old that's going to turn 23, I think, in September, and he plays for Villarreal at this moment in time. Guess what? He's only had 1 year playing in the league of La Liga, so it's 1 year top flight experience. He had 2 appearances prior, but we're not going to count that because it's 1 year. He's had 2 Conference League games as well as Europa League appearances, meaning this player is starting to solidify himself into the men's game. I don't know how he's going to translate because in the English game it's a little bit more physical. Goalkeepers, even though goalkeepers that don't need like the gust of wind before they call the foul, it's a little bit more physical when you come for crosses. The Spanish game is a bit softer and nicer to goalkeepers. However, he's technically very gifted due to the fact that modern day goalkeepers all need to know how to kick ball. Most of them most probably even played outfield in their younger days. The reality is he is very comfortable on the ball. I've saw some compilations. Watching goalkeeper compilations is very boring, I can't lie to you. Like, anyone can look amazing, but it's more to focus on how the passing works out because you can estimate that more than rather than a saves comp, because every goalkeeper can be excellent and terrible in a saves comp, right? You just have to pick the right angles because every goalkeeper gets packed every now and then. However, he's got a £40 million release clause. These are the reports from Spain. The next element that we need to talk about is Diogo Costa. Diogo Costa is a goalkeeper that Chelsea have been linked with for years now. As long as I've known of it, Porto have got financial problems at this moment in time and Chelsea are linked to him again. Whether Chelsea can acquire his talents, because I think if he becomes available, the market for him will go mad. Like, he is the kind of goalkeeper Manchester City will look for. If Alisson's actually going to Saudi Arabia, Liverpool will look for. If Arsenal actually want to spend money and have a great goalkeeper, they will look at. So we will struggle to acquire his services. He's played over 100 Portuguese league games. He's played over 28 European games. This is a player that is very, very experienced at the age of 24, 25. I think he's turning 25 now. Very good player, great age, brings in experience, captain of Porto, would be an excellent addition. I highly doubt we're going to go for him though. So Fabrizio also said that we're linked with, at this moment in time, a left back. However, the current left back that we have on loan is Ian Maatsen, and Ian Maatsen has a £35 million release clause. And as far as we've known, Ian Maatsen was meant to be leaving Chelsea Football Club. However, Dortmund are going to come back in with a £25 million bid because they're trying to say, you know that agreement we had of 35 million? Well, how about we give you 25 and you be happy with that, even though he's been amazing for us? No, that's not going to happen. Chelsea will not accept that. And Dortmund are playing a very risky game because Ian Maatsen today has come out and we have got quotes from Ian Maatsen which are very interesting. He said, I still have 2 years left on my contract at Chelsea. They're keeping an eye on me. We'll see what the future holds in the summer, and we will decide then what's going to happen with me. He also said, I feel like I've proven myself here and that I belong on this stage and I'm ready to play consistently. And the final one is, yes, they haven't spoken to me directly. However, I've been made aware that they are very happy with my development. Now, this tells me one thing. This is a complete different tune from when his dad spoke about Chelsea and the way he spoke about Chelsea when Maurizio Pochettino was in charge. This is a man that knows Enzo Maresca likes his fullbacks to tuck in. This is a man that knows Enzo Maresca wants his left fullback to be bombing forward. This is a man that understands that the way he plays football really suits Enzo Maresca's system. So Dortmund need to be very careful for 2 reasons. Number one, do not try to lowball Chelsea because that release clause is very payable and Bayern Munich will not hesitate to jump on it because we know Davies is leaving, we know Company has taken over, 2 + 2 is equal to 4, and we know he wanted to buy him at Burnley for 35 million. So guess what? At Brighton, he will definitely want to do it because we've already seen links of Ian Maatsen to Bayern Munich by concrete newspapers. Secondly, Chelsea are looking for a left back. Why are Chelsea going to go and sell their own left back for 35 million unless they have to anyone? Because the reality is they're going to go spend money on a left back anyway. So you might as well just put Ian Maatsen there, move on Trevor Chalobah as they're planning, move on Omari Hutchinson as they're most probably planning, move on Gallagher, and you balance the books. But you've kept Ian Maatsen, who is pivotal to the way you're going to play. And he's going to start. He's a perfect replacement for Cucurella. Like, he's a perfect replacement for the two of them. Both players can play in a very similar mold. That's just my opinion, but it's starting to make sense. And I think the timing of these quotes is very interesting. Speaking of players leaving Chelsea and the new deals being offered, Chelsea have decided to exercise their right to extend the contract of Omari Hutchinson. Omari Hutchinson had 1 year left on his deal, but we didn't know that there was an extension clause that Chelsea had the right to use, and they've used it. So right now, Omari Hutchinson has returned to Chelsea, and there's going to be some movement on his future. So what do we know? We know that Omari Hutchinson has 2 years left on his deal. There's going to be a potential loan of Omari Hutchinson, and Stuttgart in Germany are interested. This is a Champions League side who want him. However, Chelsea only want to loan him if there is an obligation to buy or he signs a new deal. So either he signs a new 5 to 6 year deal and Chelsea basically tell him you're going to come back and get reintegrated in the future, go and develop yourself, or he signs a new short-term deal and still goes on loan, which has happened in the past with Ian Maatsen, but there needs to be an obligation or included. Chelsea, I don't believe, will want to include a release clause in this contract. The reason I'm saying this is because you could get burnt. He can go and have an absolute killer of a season, be worth 50, 60 million pounds, and you've got a 30 million pound release clause in him. Like, it will literally put Chelsea in such a precarious situation that they will panic. Ipswich still want to loan him. However, Chelsea are willing to include that 25 million pound release clause option or obligation if they stay up. So if you stay up Ipswich, you pay us guaranteed 25 million and he's your player. This for me is risky. And the decision needs to be made with the best interests of Chelsea and the player. For me, he needs to sign a new deal and go on loan because that left-hand side for Chelsea does not look good. Think about it, right? He's both-footed. He can use his left, he can use his right, both-footed. But he can play in the 10, he can play on the left, he can play on the right. And this year, we've seen him develop on the left more. He went from the right to the middle to the left. And at At Chelsea, we're lacking that left-hand side because Christopher Nkunku can't stay fit. They're trying everything in their possible hands to get rid of Raheem Sterling because they don't want that contract. And Mudryk is not making that position his own. So I don't know whether Mudryk's going to develop all of a sudden overnight under Enzo Maresca, but it's highly unlikely from what we've seen so far. But Omari should buy his time. This is my personal opinion. I think selling him for 25 million is going to be foolish because if he goes to Stuttgart, slaps, bangs goals, you've got an asset on your hand that's ready. If he comes to the Premier League and plays for Ipswich and bang, why would you not want to keep this asset? I don't understand. We should not be selling him under no circumstances this year. This needs to be a loan. Unless you get an Elise and then you say, you know what? Noni can go, or what's it called, Omari can go because we've got Elise. It's the only way I would understand the logic behind getting rid of him, unless you don't get Elise. A player that's going to be coming back to Stamford Bridge, it looks like to be Andrey Santos. Andrey Santos went to Strasbourg and literally made that midfield his own. Vieira loved him to the point where the fans voted this player twice their player of the month. He was the man of the month, player of the month for what's it called, April and September, May. He absolutely shined, and it got to the point where they're trying to keep him. They're doing whatever they can to keep him on another year loan. It really is evident, right, how they want to keep him but not Angelo. And it's really upsetting considering Angelo's statistics were so good from a non-production standpoint. So like key passes, dribbling, and everything from that aspect. However, Angelo did not contribute with a goal and assist enough times for them to want to keep him, so I don't know what's going to happen with his future. The reality is, when it comes to Andrey Santos, is that he's going to be returning to Chelsea. Chelsea are going to be analysing him, well, Enzo Maresca is going to be analysing him in pre-season, and then we're going to decide what happens with his future. Personally, I would love for us to keep him purely based on the fact that Enzo Maresca will have to rotate that midfield. Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia, and Santos sounds like a brilliant midfield option, especially with 8 Conference League games coming up. That's going to give him plenty of time to play cup games here and there. And more importantly, you can't trust on players to stay fit consistently throughout the 38 games of the season, right? And there's 3 positions that he can play in. He can play in the box-to-box 8, he can play in the box crusher 8, so the 8/10 role, and he can also play in the 6. This is how good and talented this kid is. So for me, it's a no-brainer that we keep him next year. As long as he shows himself well in pre-season, I think Enzo Maresca will. But this was the Kavkas View. I hope you lot enjoyed the roundup of the news. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell notification because tomorrow, the video that does well every single year, the predicted lineup for next year from all the transfer rumors that are being linked and how I think Enzo Maresca is going to shape up with Chelsea. Let's get into it.